What's up, guys? Welcome back to another video. Today is going to be a little bit different. I try a different filming technique, but in today's video we're going to pull the Trans Am out. I got a heater core to do, parking brake to fix, and a couple shop updates. So let's get this thing fired up. If it fires up, get it to the shop. Camera angle. Want to kind of give you guys a better view of what I see as I see it. So I got a little attachment here for the hat, trying with my GoPro, and we'll see how this works. So right now, just because I just fired up and the car was on charge, the radio won't come on until I reset it. So I can't have my gauges up, but boost gauge is down over here. I can't remember. Yeah, it was at number 1, so just waste gauge pretty much. And we're gonna head to the shop. So today's goal, we're gonna rip out the heater core, we're gonna put that back in. Gotta fix the parking brake cable because it snapped. I got a new one, and I'll go over all the parts that I have, what to use, hoses and all that kind of stuff, and do a little shop update as well. A couple of the projects are pretty much finished up on one and starting on the other, so let's head to the shop. I always forget how low this car is. Okay, so here's what I got. New heater core, some hoses with the 90-degree elbows built in, which are actually nice. Heater core wise, I found on Rock Auto. These are pretty hard to come by, and in terms of the design of the heater core, the original ones are copper, but a lot of ones that I did find have what are called like the universal pivot, just to allow you to get it into the firewall nicely, but they tend to be a leak point. So I wanted to try to find one that didn't have the pivots built in, just so I don't have to do this again. But this was hard to find. I've been scouring Rock Auto, Amazon, eBay for a while to find one, and this was a part number here. All right. So if you need to do heater core in these cars, because they do suck, try to find one that doesn't have the pivots on the hose itself. Hose wise, I went with also from Rock Auto, Dega hoses, and part number here 80417, and also the 80408, just for the different sizes, and they're coming about, I believe this was roughly about 30 or 40 inches for both, so fairly long. That way, depending on how you want to route them, it's not too bad to do. With my car, because I bypassed the heater hose on the water pump, and I gotta let this cool down, but it is fairly tight, so I want to come out and do a 90 up into the heater core hoses up top, and kind of get them out of the way, and I'll heat shield them also as well. But yeah, so the goal today is to, well, getting the one out shouldn't be too bad. I gotta get rid of the old hoses, they're still clamped on there, but a lot of people say that this takes, on some cars, a good couple hours to do, because there's this particular bolt that's kind of halfway up the dash. That's a pain to get to. Now, since I've had parts of this dash cut out, part of it is removable, so I should be able to get easy access to it without having to really remove too much and drop that down. I'm not worried about it leaking anything on the inside because it's been drained and it's done its thing before. So common things that happen that you got to do a heater core. You start to smell coolant on the inside of the car. You'll start getting condensation up near the defrost vents, even though you don't have the heater on or defrost on. That's when you know they're starting to leak somewhere. It could be a very small leak. And then eventually you get the puddle in the driver or in the passenger footwell, or driver's side if it's really bad as well. So yeah, I started having that last year, late summer, early fall, and I knew it was coming. And then as I tried to hope that it'd give me a little bit of time, it let go. So I disconnected the hoses and just looped the water pump and went back on my way for now. But this year, because I do plan on driving the car fairly soon, as the weather's starting to kind of clear up, I want to get things kind of ready for that. And it's getting busy at the shop, so time I just don't have much of. For now, I need to get myself kind of suit up to be a contortionist and get underneath the dash, and we'll start pulling this heater core out.
All right, so what you want to do is get the whole under panel off, the middle portion here. I have this part removed because I put my ECU up here in my fuse panel and kind of tucked up my harness up there. But down below, there are a couple of bolts that you'll see on the cover for the heater core. So 1, 2, 3, I believe there's another up here, but up in between, right roughly about here, is another top one that everyone has a bitch of a time to get out. So luckily I have this access where I can get to it pretty easily, and then you pull this whole thing forward. Once this cover is off, the heater core itself, you'll be able to see the panel that holds it together and to slide it out, and it can be a bit tricky to do as well. So we're going to get this guy off. I'm going to kind of move my wiring harness out of the way because I got it also tied up, and see where that top bolt is and get that free, and then we'll see what we got left to work with in terms of getting the rest of it out. All right, so don't know how well you guys can see it depending on the angle that the camera's at, but the last bolt is actually up here. So I have my dash apart, so it's easy for me to get this bolt out. It's the only bolt that should be holding the rest of it together to pull that out. So we're going to get that out, pull the box down, and hopefully I should have a pretty easy time to do the heater core. So a lot of times with plastic stuff, and especially the old screws, I use hand tools. I don't like using power tools because you get a good feel if something's just stripped or if you're about to strip it. So for a couple extra seconds, it's better to be safe than sorry. All right, scratch that. So there is one more in the top corner also of the box. So I gotta get another extension and just kind of get that out, and then everything should come out. So let's fight with that one next. All right, so I got my new heater core back into the bracket, and I'm gonna try to fish this through, and hopefully it doesn't fight me too much to get through the firewall. Okay, so this is not gonna work this way. Yeah. Oh, great, now I'm stuck. Don't break the bracket I just glued on. Alright, so I got everything pretty much almost back together. So kind of see I'm kind of pointing up to the top corner here, There's a bolt here, and same thing on the bottom part of this, down way back down there, to hold the cover for the heater core itself. The brackets on the back of the plastic panel don't quite make the core line up to the firewall, so I ditched those, used some foam on the inside, and then everything is going back together perfectly fine. So now I can put this all back together, close up my dash, and then work on the hoses on the firewall. Alright, so you can see here I just kind of ran the 2 lines just up and over, down, and it's kind of hard to see. But the 90's coming out of the water pump spot. So if anything were to go wrong, I have at least the loop. I can just throw it on, and I can still go down the road. So I'd highly recommend those 2 hoses. If you were to come out and wrap it around somewhere, at least it makes it nice and easy to make the bend without having to force a straight hose to do that. So I'd recommend that. Alright, so everything's back together. I got good heat, blowing out all the crap that's trapped in the system. I recommend when you do have everything apart down there, clean out everything as best you can. And I resealed as much as I could with the heater core with double-sided foam tape as well, just to kind of keep the leaves and dust from coming through into the ducting. So we will see how this works out. Car's getting up to temp and just bleeding out the cooling system. So we'll go for a drive. The weather's coming around pretty nicely where I can feel a little bit more comfortable driving. I do have the drag radials on right now, so it's a little sketch, but not going to do anything too crazy. I just put some fresh gas in. I just topped off the methanol tank as well. It was bone dry. So yeah, let's have a little fun. Not too much, just a little. So another main reason why I wanted to do the heater core was just another point of insurance. If the car starts to overheat, I can turn the heater on and help circulate a little bit more coolant through. Especially with this being turbocharged and everything is really hot under the hood. Anything I can do to kind of help with that situation, I'd rather have that. So I wasn't quite comfortable bypassing the heater core completely for a long period of time on this. I've never really tried doing is like brake boosting this thing on a roll. I always wondered what the car would feel like. So, one way to find out.
much boost. It's like 1 or 2 pounds, but it sounds glorious. Okay, so that wraps up the heater core. It seems to be working pretty good. I got no leaks. I double checked the clamps, and seems like it's making some pretty good heat. So far, had the car running for a while now. Bled the system. It doesn't seem to get quite as blazing hot as the old heater core used to, which I expected, being an aluminum core versus a copper core. But aside from that, if you need to do a heater core replacement in your F-body 82 to 92, generally they're all the same to replace. A couple of the bolts are quite a pain to get to, but once they're out, the rest from there is pretty straightforward. So other than that, I am wearing, hard to see, my new shirt and my hat. I do have them in blue and in gray. So you got the Torch Trans Am label on the back, Turbo TI in the front, and then the hat, of course. So let me guys know if you guys are interested in some of the merch, and I'll get some made in different colors, sizes. Just hit me up and let me know. So that's going to do it for today's video. Please like, share, comment, subscribe. Any questions, by all means, I do read the comments for the most part. And see you guys next time.